Someone moves here to a new country. Their first week, a stranger passes, smiles, and says, "How are you?" And this person does the honest thing. They answer. They actually answer. They say, "Well, the move was hard, but I miss my family," or "I'm not quite sure yet." And they look up. And the other person is gone. They're already walking. They're halfway down the hall, smiling back over one shoulder. But the newcomer stands there, sentence still just kind of hanging in the air, feeling like they failed a test nobody named. I'm sure we've all been that person, standing in a country that runs on rules no one writes down. So let me ask the real question here. Was that a question? It had a question mark, it had the shape and the structure of a question, but nobody wanted an answer. So what was it? Here's the part that changed how I hear my own language. There's a name for this. An anthropologist named Bronislaw Malinowski wrote about it in 1923. His field was in the Pacific, and it shaped a larger idea about language itself. He saw that people everywhere, including his own world, talk when they have nothing to report. They greet each other, they mention the weather, they ask things they already know. And he called it Phatic communion. Language that is not carrying information, language that is carrying connection. So one way to look at it is that the words are the truck, but the cargo is something else. The cargo is, "I see you. We are okay. You're not a threat." Later, a linguist named Roman Jacobson gave it a tighter shape. He said some language exists just to keep the line open, like saying, "You still there?" in the middle of a phone call. You aren't asking a question, you're more checking the wire. So here's the answer to our question for that newcomer to the country that we spoke about at the beginning. How are you in American English is not a question. It's a handshake made of words, and you don't inspect a handshake, you just shake back. Now, this is where it would be easy to get smug. The newcomer walks away with a verdict. Americans are fake. They ask things, but they don't really mean it. But that reading stays on the surface. The American wasn't lying. The American was showing care in the shape of their culture. Quick and light and repeatable and 100 times a day. The mistake wasn't the Americans, and it wasn't the newcomers either. Two systems met, but nobody handed out the manual. And before any of us decides that one culture is the honest one and the other is the performer, look around the world for a second. In China, a traditional greeting asks, "Have you eaten?" It's not about food. The answer is yes, even when it's not. That same question travels across Asia, Korea and Malaysia and Cambodia and Myanmar. There, it's a question about rice that mostly means, "I'm thinking about you." In the Philippines, where I live now, people ask, "Kumain ka na?" Have you eaten? And it carries the whole weight of love in 4 small words. Even "Kamusta," the Filipino "how are you," is a borrowed Spanish phrase, "Como está," that crossed an ocean and stayed. Every one of these does the same small trick. A sentence shaped like a question, doing the work of a hug. So no culture owns honesty here. We all hand each other questions that are not actually questions. But here's the twist that matters. Not every culture treats this the same way. In German, when someone asks how it goes, the question stays closer to a real one. An honest, not so good is perfectly acceptable. In Russian, the question is often a real opening. Ask it, and you may get a true answer. Tiredness, family, money. So the newcomer who answered honestly wasn't broken. In some rooms, the answer is exactly right. And the skill here is not stop being honest. The skill is reading which room you are in, which culture you are in. So let me say the thing this whole video is really about. We call it small talk, like it's small, like it's the static before the signal. But it's not static. It's a system checking that the line is live before anything real moves across it. You can't build anything across difference on a dead line. Small talk is how two people confirm the wire is open. Skip it, and the most important conversation of your life has nowhere to sit down. And this is the thing I keep finding underneath cross-cultural life. Part that looks like the problem is often the foundation. And the friction is almost never that someone is doing it wrong. The friction is that two people are running 2 scripts, and each is reading the other's lines as if they were their own. The work isn't picking the correct script. The work is learning to hear the one being offered. So is how are you a real question? No and yes. No, it's not asking for your medical history, but yes, it is asking something. It's asking, are we okay? And when you learn to hear it that way, something shifts. You stop feeling lied to and you start feeling let in. Years later, that same newcomer catches themselves doing it, walking past somebody saying, how are you? And not stopping for the answer. What we really need to learn here is that sometimes questions are how we start off communicating with each other. And sometimes the questions that are not questions are how we start. Once we realize that the way our culture does things is not necessarily how another culture does the exact same things, the more we'll learn about how to communicate more deeply across the world. My name is John. This is Crossbuilt. Thank you for watching.